Cord McCready rode alone into the hills, searching for a lost calf near the abandoned Blackthorn silver mine entrance. The wind whispered through the pines as he dismounted and saw faint footprints leading into the dark tunnel. He lit a lantern and ventured inside, calling out softly, afraid of what he might find there. Deep in the mine, a young woman with tangled hair sat against the wall, clutching a leather sketchbook. She did not speak when he knelt beside her, only stared with wide, frightened, and desperate hazel eyes. Cord said gently, "I'm not going to hurt you, miss. Let me get you out of this place." She simply handed him the sketchbook, and he saw a drawing of his own face in perfect detail. Below the drawing was another image of a train engulfed in flames and people running in panic. He shivered because the drawing depicted the very morning train that would arrive from Silverton the next day. She then pointed to a sketch of a clock showing exactly 10 minutes past high noon in the picture. Cord realized she was predicting a disaster, and this silent girl might hold the key to stopping it. He wrapped his coat around her and lifted her onto his horse, riding hard toward his small ranch. At the ranch, his housekeeper, Ruth, cleaned her up and discovered the girl could not utter a single sound. But she communicated by drawing, and her next sketch showed a masked man with a distinctive scar on his jaw. The man looked exactly like Victor Grange, a ruthless land baron who hated the railroad for crossing his land. Cord knew Grange had been planning something terrible, and now the girl's drawings were giving them exact warnings. That night, she drew a map of a hidden cave behind the old water tower near the train depot. In the drawing, a chest was buried there, and the chest contained what looked like stacks of old letters. Cord felt a jolt of curiosity because his own mother had once spoken of lost letters from her youth. He decided to follow the map at dawn, taking the girl with him because she refused to stay behind. As the sun rose, they located the cave exactly where her drawing showed, hidden by thick sagebrush and rocks. Inside, they found a rusty iron chest, and when they opened it, they discovered a bundle of faded love letters. The letters were written by Cord's mother to a man named Silas Grange, Victor's father, decades long ago. The correspondence revealed a secret romance that had been torn apart by a bitter feud over water rights. Cord suddenly understood that the girl's gift was not just prophecy, but a call to heal old wounds. She then drew a new picture showing Victor Grange placing dynamite on the trestle bridge near the railroad. Cord raced to the sheriff, but the lawman was out of town, leaving only a young deputy. Knowing they had to act alone, Cord and the silent girl rode toward the trestle with the sketchbook. They arrived just as Victor and his men were setting the charges beneath the bridge in the morning light. Cord confronted Victor directly, holding up the love letters and shouting, "Your father loved my mother. Stop this." Victor froze, and in that moment, the girl stepped forward and held up her drawing of the train. She pointed at the drawing, then at the sky, as if showing that fate itself was watching them. Victor's men hesitated, and one of them, an older outlaw named Gus, recognized the handwriting on the letters. Gus said, "Boss, that is your father's script. I'd know it anywhere. He loved her true." Victor's hands began to tremble as he read the letters, tears welling up despite his hardened, rough exterior. He admitted that his father had died bitter, and he had never understood the cause of that sadness. The train whistle sounded in the distance, and Cord quickly helped Victor's men disarm the dynamite safely. When the locomotive roared safely past, the silent girl smiled for the first time, and a soft sound escaped. She had spoken a single word, peace, and it was the most beautiful thing Cord had ever heard. That evening, they brought Victor back to the ranch, where Ruth served a meal to all of them. The girl, now slowly regaining fragments of speech, drew a final picture of a locket being opened gently. Inside the locket were tiny portraits of Cord's mother and Victor's father, united at last in miniature form. Victor broke down completely, and Cord extended his hand, saying, "Let's end this feud for their sake." They agreed to share the water rights and rebuild the burned bridges that had divided the valley families. Days later, Cord and the girl who revealed her name was Lila, returned to the mine where they met. She drew a picture of a rock wall inside the mine, and when they pried it open, they found the locket. Inside the locket were indeed the tiny portraits, along with a note saying, "Love never truly dies." Lila whispered, "My silence was a gift, so I could listen to the whispers of the past." Cord asked her how she knew all this, and she replied, "The voices of the lost guided my hand." She explained that her mother was a descendant of Silas Grange's sister, making her and Victor cousins. This revelation stunned Cord, but it also made sense of the deep, inexplicable connection they all now felt. The locket was returned to Victor, who wore it as a reminder that love could overcome generational hate. Lila's voice grew stronger each day, and her drawings became less urgent, more peaceful, filled with blooming flowers. Cord and Lila grew close, walking the ranch together and sharing stories under the wide, starry sky. One night, she drew a picture of a wedding at the old chapel beneath the cottonwood trees. Cord smiled and asked, "Is that a prophecy or a hope, my dear sweet Lila?" She answered softly, "Both, if you will have me, and if the past can be redeemed." They married as the valley celebrated a new era of unity, with Victor standing as a groomsman. Victor himself found healing, and he married a schoolteacher who had always believed in his hidden goodness. The love letters were bound into a book and placed in the town library for all to read. The silent girl became known as the sketchbook prophet, and her story spread throughout the entire Western Territories. Children visited the ranch to see her draw, and she taught them to listen with their hearts instead. Cord often thought about that day in the mine when a lost calf had led him to destiny. Lila would hold his hand and say, "Every step is drawn before we take it by a loving hand." Their first child, a daughter named Mercy, inherited her mother's gift and would sketch dreams each morning. The community thrived, and the train now brought visitors who marveled at the story of the forbidden love letters. On the anniversary of the train rescue, they gathered at the trestle to dedicate a small peace monument. Lila stood and said, "Silence taught me that the loudest truths are often spoken by the quietest hearts." Cord added, "And a simple drawing can change the course of a whole town, if courage follows." The locket was placed in a time capsule along with the sketchbook, buried beneath the new town hall. Years later, a young boy digging in his backyard unearthed the time capsule and opened the sketchbook. He saw a drawing of himself holding the book, and his destiny to become a peacemaker was revealed. Thus, the cycle continued, proving that one silent girl's gift could echo through generations with love and wonder. Please subscribe to West Old Stories Official and tell us your thoughts in the comments. Like and share now.